to talk to you today about a concept called, well, I don't know what it's called, but my friend and I call it the bubble. And I was wondering if you have experienced the bubble. Now, I don't know if the bubble is your aura. I don't know if the bubble is something that's protecting you or something that's separating you from other parts of a reality you might be in. Now, I did hear a reference about the bubble a few months ago, and the reference indicated that it was a protection around your person when you were interacting with an environment that wasn't your natural environment. So, like, if you are around a bunch of people, let's say, that aren't on your frequency, then your bubble would kind of protect you from being influenced by these like frequencies, especially if it's a lower frequency that you don't want to like kind of dip down into that energy. You want to kind of stay up. So I found that concept really interesting when I heard about it, and then my friend started talking about it. And what she was saying is that she feels like she's in a bubble, like when she goes to, like, let's say she goes to a store, she's in public and there's a bunch of people around. And so if you think about it, you know, everybody is vibrating at a different frequency, and, you know, you're going to find people that are in kind of your range that you can interact more easily with, and other people that you might have to, you know, your frequency may like kind of adjust so you can interact with them, and then it goes back, or whatever the case may be. But if you think about it, there could be like lots of different frequencies around you in a public place with different people at different consciousness levels. And so with her, what she was saying is that when she's in a store, she feels like there's a bunch of people that are around her, but they can't interact with her, right? So like, she says she even feels like if they're encroaching on her bubble. And you know, this might be kind of a personal space thing too, but this seems like it's got actually some sort of barrier. And so when it's like encroaching, she feels the people getting too close and she's got to move away. Like it's like, but she's even felt like actually like they're kind of pressing on the energy field around her, like just kind of, and you know, she feels very uncomfortable. She has to get away. And I kind of understand this concept in the sense that, you know, you think about when you're out and you're like just like in your own thoughts and you don't want to interact, you kind of feel like you're in your own bubble, right? You're in your own world. You're not really, I mean, you see people, but you're not really engaging with them because you don't really want to interact. So, but this bubble thing is interesting because I had an example of this happen, but it was with my mother. So my mother and I went to a concert, and it was an outdoor like pavilion. It had like a covered area and it had grass in the back. But, you know, we were in the seated area. We had assigned seats. And what was weird is everything in the whole place, all the seats looked full. From what our vantage point was, at least. All of them looked full. However, the two seats next to me, so like on my right, and the two seats next to her on her left were empty. The two seats in front of us were empty, and the two seats behind us were empty. And we felt like, my mother said something, she's like, this is really weird that there is no one around us and we have all this space and everybody else is all right next to each other. And I'm like, yeah, I think we are in our bubble. We have a bubble, and other people aren't, you know, other people apparently have a smaller bubble or something, I don't know, because our bubble was specifically two seats around all sides of us was a bubble. Now, what's funny is that there was, like, not at the beginning of the show, but kind of in it a little bit, there were the two seats in front of us, there were some people that came and sat in those seats for a little while, just briefly, like maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And my mother said she overheard them saying that they felt really crowded. And so then they got up and they left. And I don't know, maybe they stood on the side or, you know, went into a different spot where they could, you know, stand up and have more, you know, room, or maybe they found other seats. I don't know, but they literally said they felt too crowded. Now, my mother and I weren't physically crowding them. We were behind them. They probably didn't even know we were there. They probably even barely saw us. Maybe they saw us when they sat down, but, you know, when they're sitting down, they couldn't even really see us. So, but it was interesting because then they moved. So this was only a brief time, but they started feeling uncomfortable. So it kind of made me wonder if it had something to do with this bubble situation that was going on. Or, I mean, there's always a possibility that they felt crowded because of the people sitting next to them on both sides. And it felt crowded, I don't know. But that was really interesting, and I found it most interesting because there were two people, and my mother noticed, and I never had discussed this bubble concept with her before. So, when I visualize it, I just kind of see people walking around, they got bubbles around them. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Are you experiencing being in a bubble at times?